Wild Willie here was going to throw in the towel, but somebody said something to me and it started a firestorm in my brain. Boo! I don't even have any drinks. It's a crying shame, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Take 3. All right, so there are 7 days of the there are 7 days of the week, folks. 7 colors of the rainbow. 7 notes of music. 7 forces, and actually there's 5 forces in nature. 7 forces in nature, I'll get to that in a minute, and 7 centers of human experience that any one of us can be experiencing now and throughout the life as a model of lifetime development, all of which are governed by the law of impermanence, nullifying the quest for chasing any one of them, because it will fall through your hands like water. Woo! If we look at the 5 forces of nature coming from Chinese medicine, that is 5-phase theory, we see that each force captures an aspect of existence in our lives. And those forces are inherent in the chakras, and it suggests something. There is the force of expansion. There is the force of expandedness. There is the force of contraction. There is a force of consolidation. And there is a force of revolution, suggesting that this is a never-ending cycle. When these 5 forces are mastered in the human form, they allow us to gain access to a 6th and a 7th force, which is the divine. And these are the chakras. I often use the Ken Keyes' model, intellectual model on my channel. I've come up with my own force model, and I'm going to tie these to Chinese medicine right now. So the Ken Keyes model is security as the root chakra. I do not use the Hindi model because I'm not an Indian person and I'm not familiar with that model. I use a Western model. So the chakras are, according to Ken Keyes, security as the root chakra, sensation, power, love, cornucopia, I like to call it faith, conscious awareness, I like to call concentration, and cosmic consciousness, I like to call insight. Those are the 7 intellectual chakras, okay, from Ken Keyes' model. So, the forces of existence that parallel the chakras, right? There's the physical, you have physical energy, okay? This is a force in nature. It's physical energy. You have sexual energy. Sexual energy is its own energy. It belongs to the body. You have a destructive energy. Destructive energy oftentimes works to balance out things, right? You have a creative energy. You have a mental energy. You have a focused energy, and you have inspiration, okay? So if we were to liken, which is what Chinese medicine, which is what they do, if we were to liken each one of the 5-phase forces to a season, or an element, right? We can see that expansion is wood, spring. Expandedness is summer, fire. Contraction is fall, metal. Okay. Consolidatedness is water, winter. And revolution is earth, okay, which is late summer. The body is the wood force. The mind is the metal force. Destruction is winter force. Creation is summer force. And the sexual energy is the earth force, because earth is where all life happens. Those are the 5 forces. And so when we apply them to the chakra model, we see that when we are able to master all of those energy forces, we gain access to concentration or focused energy, conscious awareness, which yields to insight, inspiration, cosmic consciousness, which is the divine, right? So, I mean, attaining a specific level of chakras is not that important. You can do it in like 16 minutes. There's tons of videos out there that tell you how to ascend all the chakras. It's through integrity. I will do this. You just focus on your breath for 16 minutes hardcore enough and you'll do it. But what we can really do is use these models to improve ourselves because they're fractally, perfectly sound principles in nature, right? So I'm all about energy blocks this year. I don't know. I started doing energy blocks and now I love it, right? This is so great. So like we can use the model as a tool for ourselves, and that's what we're going to do. So an energy block, if you think about the process of the 5 forces of nature occurring, right? It's governs the flow of the life, right? Everything. It's in the seasons, it's in the day, it's in your life, the life cycle of plants, your bodies, everything, right? So a blockage implies that something is disrupting the energy from flowing and moving that process forward, right? And it will create a yin-yang imbalance of rot or chaos. Rot is the yin imbalance, chaos is the yang imbalance, right? So dealing with energy blocks, I've talked about in a previous video, you can think your way through them or you can feel your way through them, okay? Because we have the capacity as humans to think and to feel. You can also concentrate your way through them and receive divine inspiration in dealing with them. That's another way too, which is kind of feeling. But anyways, thinking our way through an energy block will allow us to resolve the blockage and allow the process to continue. Feeling our way through an energy block will do the same thing. It will remove the block and allow the energy to flow with the life and allow the process to continue, the process of maturation and fulfillment, right? So something was said to me. I feel trapped, okay? And I didn't really know what that was meant in my personal situation. But I started to think about it, and I started to think about it in relation to myself. And I was able to reflect on a time when I felt trapped. And knowing that when a person feels trapped, okay, a side note of this is trapped is not a feeling, okay? You cannot feel trapped because trapped is not a feeling. So that tells us something. We can think about this, and we can think about this to get to the bottom of it, right? But if somebody is saying they feel trapped, we can determine that that's a drama. And as I stated in the previous video, if you're dealing with an energy block, it will manifest itself in your life as a drama. And each drama will have a theme. And this is the process by which we can think our way through this specific example of an energy block, which might be applicable to many people out there. And actually is one of the most important energy blocks to release. Because this is an energy block in the root chakra. This is stopping all the flow of the life from the very beginning. And until we release this specific blockage, we won't be living. Real life doesn't start until we release this block. So understanding that feeling trapped is not a feeling, we know that we can think our way through this energy block. And we can think our way by determining what the drama is and what the theme of that drama is, okay? So feeling trapped, I did this in my own personal life, and this is what I came to. So what is the drama? It's not a feeling, and unless you actually are like physically trapped in a cage like you're a prisoner, it's a drama. I feel trapped! My life is trapping me. I know that you can only be trapped by another person. You can feel trapped by yourself, or you can feel trapped from the world. I'm not talking about, like abuse or human imprisonment. That's not what we're talking about. It's a feeling of being trapped by something else, right? So this is a drama. And now if we look at the drama, we can determine the theme of this drama. So the theme of feeling trapped means like you're backed into a corner or you're in a cage. It means that you can't do things. So it means that you don't have any freedom. It means that you don't have any choices. It means that if you feel trapped, there's a limit. Okay, so that's the theme. The theme is freedom right there. So in my previous example in doing this in my last video, I arrived at one of the energy centers as our theme. So if you get to a theme when you're looking at your own energy blocks and your dramas in your life, and it doesn't take you to the energy center, it doesn't need to. Like, you can get to the theme and we can unpack it a little more and we can see how it is blocking the energy, right? So this is a theme of freedom. This is a theme of freedom. Like, take, for example, you have a husband or you have a wife and they come home and they're drinking alcohol and you say, you need to quit drinking alcohol or I'm leaving. You impose your boundary on them, and to them that's a limit. And they have a choice. They can say, well, I'll give up drinking or I'll leave you. But that's the limit. And so limits can make people feel trapped, right? So that's really what we're talking about here. We're talking about limits. And the theme is freedom. And I feel trapped because I don't have freedom. I'm faced with a limit. Okay? So your boundary can be a limit on another person. So limits aren't always a bad thing. See, if we weren't properly shown choices, model choices or limits in our childhood, then we're not going to know what those are. So, see, you go to childhood and you see, Willie says, you're in the security chakra, the root chakra, the physical energy chakra from birth age 12. So, okay, that's a cue right there. Maybe we're dealing with the security chakra. Okay, but let's keep unpacking this situation here. Now, when you want freedom, when you like, I need freedom, right? How do people get it? How do people get freedom? There's only 4 ways that people get freedom. Okay, let's think about it. Well, I'm going to fight my way and get some freedom. I'm going to fight for my freedom, man. Like in the Revolutionary War, bring it, send them packing. I'm going to fight for my freedom and I'm going to get it. Okay, that's one way. Before I go on, I got to tell you there's 4 ways, 3 of which are unhealthy, 1 of which is healthy, and the 3 ways are habituated, and you'll see how in just a second here. How is the second way to get my freedom? I'm going to fight and I'm going to get my freedom. Well, I'm going to run away from my captor. I can flee. I can escape. There you go. Okay, how else? All right, I've got a limit. I feel like a prisoner to my job, a prisoner to my family, my life. I go to work, I zone out, I come home, I drink a bunch of beer, and I numb out. Okay, you can freeze. You can freeze. Freeze your way. That's how people try to get their freedom. They fight, flight, or freeze. Are you seeing how it's all connected now? Real life ain't happening because we're living in survival, baby. That's the survival brain mechanisms. Okay? Right? And those are habituated. Chances are you don't even know you're doing this. And this is why this is an energy block. So what's the 4th way to deal with this energy block? We can see right there actually too, from the 3 unhealthy ways that people try to get freedom. This is a blockage in the security chakra. Because when I have freedom, when I have total freedom, like, it feels good. I can do whatever I want, right? So we see that a person feels trapped because they don't have freedom. So we can see that we're dealing with the security chakra, security sensation, right? So the process of maturation, emotional, spiritual, whatever, intellectual maturation is appended because we're stuck. We feel trapped. And we see that it's an issue of the security chakra. And we see that this is a drama in our life because you can't feel trapped. And we see that the theme is freedom. And we're dealing with limits. Okay? So the 4th way that is healthy to deal with energy blocks, I had to really look at my own personal history to figure this out, is we accept the situation in its entirety. We accept the limit in terms of our limits, the limits in relation to the other person, another person, and the limits in relationship to our world. And we oftentimes, in order to be able to see this entire picture, we have to surrender totally to the habituated behavior. We have to do that so we can see it on the conscious level. And we have to do it so it can take us to a place of madness. We can see it on the conscious level and see how it's not serving us anymore. I will give you my own personal history and example with this. Back in 2017, I was dealing with this very energy block. I felt trapped on every area of my life. I felt trapped. And I was trying to gain my freedom by fleeing. I am a runner. Baby, you ain't going to hold me down, and I'm going to get the heck out of here. And I was running from myself. I was running from real life, the world, everybody, you name it. And my running took me to the greatest place on earth. It took me to the most incredible place I've ever been in my life. And it was the place I was supposed to stay at. But guess what I did? I ran away from that place. I ran away from that place. And what was left over was the conscious awareness of me seeing that this habituated behavior of running in order to get my freedom, running from these limits of real life, weren't serving me anymore because they took me away. I was so out of control. They took me away from the place I was supposed to be. And what was left was total acceptance. I surrendered to my behavior. I surrendered to my behavior totally. And it allowed me to see the picture in its entirety. And I was able to accept it all. And that's when real life began for me. So I can't tell you what your habituated behavior is at trying to attain freedom in the face of all the limits that we must deal with in life. But if you examine yourself, your patterns, your themes, in who do you fight? Who are you fighting? That's a cue right there. Or are you a runner like me? What are you running from? Who have you ran from? Do you run from this job, this job? I was going to run away and live in the freaking woods, man. I was not going to participate in life. Ran to the beautiful spot where I could be free and then ran away from it because I was just running out of control. See? Or is it intimate relationships? Are you running from intimate relationships? Running from them? Or fighting in intimate? Fighting this person, fighting this person, fighting this person. You have to do it. And you have to be willing to look at yourself and do it objectively. And you can determine the theme, your drama, the theme, the chakra, why. You can think your way through it, figure out what's going on with yourself, and you can get out. You can get out. All right, I don't know how that turned out. Wild Willie here. Wild Willie maybe will never come back again. We'll see you next time, or maybe we won't. Complimentary movie review for you. The greatest franchise movie of all time they ever made. Predators in 2008. That was like the best movie. Watching that movie is like, oh my gosh, it's like being a 13-year-old nerd, like seeing boobs for the first time in your life. Like bare boobs, like not a wet t-shirt. Like I mean boobs, and not on like the staticky Cinemax late at night. I'm talking about like real life boobs, not your sister's boobs. All right. Till next time, we're out of here.